Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of RollPlay Far Verona, episode number 18, if I'm not mistaken. If I've not screwed up my math, I think it's episode number 18. Hi, everybody. Hello. We're getting some technical stuff sorted out with Top Gamer and AnneMunition. Speaking of whom, hi, Anne. So Anne's working out some stuff, making sure her camera and her audio work. But for everybody else, hello and welcome back. Mark, you've been away. How are you doing? How was your trip?
I'm good. It was amazing, thank you. Yeah, amazing trip to Japan. Did a lot of nerd stuff, did a lot of sightseeing, got engaged. Yeah, it's all good.
like you do when you go
casually,
to Japan, just
casually. It was just like, we saw this, we saw that, and got engaged.
Yeah.
Something else, happened.
There's a big plan for a long time.
Yeah, congratulations on your engagement to
Thanks,
Mario, or I don't know how the whole Mushroom Kingdom works. It's very confusing and ambiguous these days.
It's an open relationship. It's polyamorous.
just everybody in the Mushroom Kingdom is just with everybody else. Yeah, that's easier to remember. Yeah, so if people haven't seen, I retweet. I think a lot of people. There's some photographs of Mark in his Halloween costume. It's definitely worth the peek.
Worth checking out.
Look at.
Yeah, for sure.
That's good. So aside from, I'm gonna totally gloss over the getting engaged part because to me that's the least interesting thing about your trip. What else did you do? Tell me about something cool and interesting that isn't getting engaged. Anybody can do that. You went to Japan.
Yeah, I'm getting messages from JP because I thought that my mic might be a bit meh, and apparently it might be. Which I will resolve after I answer your question, Adam. So, what did we do? We went and saw a lot of the shrines. Like, that was a big part of it. We went to Kyoto for about 5 days. We did a day trip out to Osaka, had some like really delicious okonomiyaki cooked by the head chef of like this really fancy, nice restaurant there, which was super delicious. Went and saw loads of shrines, one of which was covered in these spiders that only come out in autumn. And then when we got back to our ryokan, we found out that they are highly poisonous and very, very dangerous.
You almost died.
And I do not deal with spiders very well, and I was freaking out the whole time we were there. And then when I came back, I just said, we're never going here ever again. No more Japanese forests, thank you.
Japan, ancient kingdom of poisonous spider shrines. I'm pretty sure I've played this video game. Actually, I think you should have been prepared already for this. There's a lot of terrifying monsters in Japan. Yeah,
and I've also played this D&D campaign. They came from above.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It's terrifying. Well, cool. I'm glad that you didn't get bitten by a spider and die.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your continued existence.
Thank you. Channeled a bit of my Jason Argus, playing some giant robot games and visiting the giant Gundam at Odaiba. That was fun.
Were you there when the Gundam did its whole spiel, like when it moved?
No, that was the only thing. We had to leave because my partner Nina wasn't feeling very well, so we had to leave before like the nighttime when it did the whole cool show. But I got a picture of me just like pointing at it and going, "Oh, it's a Gundam," and yeah, that was it. And then lots of other stuff, like lots of sightseeing, lots of eating food, lots of shopping, lots and lots of shopping, way too much shopping.
Did you have to buy new luggage when you were there to bring back all of your nerd shit, or did you plan well enough?
We took one large suitcase with a smaller suitcase inside, and then just put clothes in the smaller suitcase going out. So we had the big suitcase empty coming home.
That's a man who's done this before. Good.
Yeah,
good. Yeah, the last time that I went, I had to buy new luggage because I didn't have enough space for all of the stuff that I got. So that's exciting. Cool. Well, welcome back. We're glad to have you. As I imagine you've heard things have been spicy lately. There's some spiciness.
I see some different things, but I'm not sure because I've tried to do the thing of I think what all of us do, which is if you're not in the episode, you don't watch it, so you don't know. I keep seeing little bits, and I'm like really curious about what's actually happened. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, I think it should be good. It should be good to catch you up, and we'll figure out what happened to our exploding priest fairly early on in the episode. Actually, we just brought Mark back to sit here and watch us play. So yeah, Mark's not actually we haven't made a new character or anything like that. It's fine. So Bronze, can I guess you? I like your low key. It's one of the Sandman. You're a Sandman character, and I can't remember which one.
Death
Is it
from
Death?
Sandman.
Yes,
Mhm.
thank you, Anne.
It's death.
So
It's-
I read-
oh shit.
She's dead.
Delay. Booker
I
got
love
it too.
Death.
It's fine.
The
Yeah.
character.
I
from
also
Sandman.
love Death.
Yeah,
Yes,
Sandman,
the
part
character
of my
from
holy
Sandman.
trinity.
Uh-huh.
The
I also
character.
love
Mhm.
that character. Bronze, say something so that Anne and I cannot be awkward anymore.
I don't know. I just threw I wasn't really in the mood to do like a whole thing. I had a whole
Mhm.
thing. I didn't want to do it, so I just did like a little closet cosplay or whatever it's called.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
love Sandman. It's one of my 3 favorite comics. The other 2
That's what-
being
it's right here.
Preacher and Why the Last Man. See? Look at
Nice.
that. I thought we had nothing in
don't-
common, and today
Like
I
the
learned we
giant
do.
I haven't read Sandman, but I heard it's really good, and I'll read it eventually. Sorry.
It's fantastic.
should.
Sandman and Preacher, followed, like I
Preacher's
said,
another
very
one, too.
closely by Why the Last Man, followed by Fables, are probably
We need
some of
Bronze. We need
the best
to
comics.
get you on a show with DJ Wheat and to talk about Preacher because Marcus loves that shit.
I'm
He
obsessed with
when
Preacher.
the TV show was coming out, he was so excited. We talked about it a bunch.
Mhm.
It is good. I agree. I
Yeah,
read it.
no,
I read it
it's
all the way through again recently.
I have a action figure from that thing that I'm very proud of.
Which character? You can't just say you have an action figure. Tell me about it.
I don't have it in front of me, so now I feel lame for even
Describe it
mentioning
to me. You're a dungeon master. You can do this. Take the thing that you're imagining in your mind and tell me what it looks like.
Well, it sounds lame because if I just describe it, it's like, oh yeah, it's a ginger dude holding a beer. But if you've actually read the comic, then it's cool.
That's all you needed to say. Now I know who you're talking about.
Do you
That's the
though?
description
Yeah.
of like the costume if it was in, Spirit Halloween. Ginger dude holding a beer.
Some of those have legitimately offended me. I think the one that I popped off on Twitter about was like it was a Gomez costume, but somebody said creepy husband. And I was like, wait a minute. Gomez is a great husband. Who out here
Yeah.
calls? Yeah, he dotes on his wife. He's a good father. He's, like very attentive to his children and his family.
I
and
saw
how creepy husband. Who
I
did
saw
my
a
man-
picture. I saw a picture today, right before the episode started. This is just totally reminding me of it. It's a girl. She's like in her early teens. She's got black hair and pigtails. She's wearing like a black dress with a white collar, but she only has one hand, and there's a chainsaw instead of her hand. And her costume is she's Ash Wednesday. And I was just like, "You win, kid. You win the internet. Congratulations." It's pretty
Like-
impressive, some people's costumes. I don't care about Halloween at all, but every once in a while, someone will come up with a costume and I'm just like, yes. All right, fine. You win this year.
I
Congratulations.
love Halloween. Halloween's fantastic. I think the reason I liked it so much is it was one of the few holidays we really went in on when I was a kid because it
Mhm.
didn't have like very overt religious meaning to it. So my parents
Right.
were like, "Yeah, this is great. This is awesome. A non-Christian holiday." So we went all out. It was wonderful. It was great. So, yeah, that's me. That's my update.
That's your
Sandman's
update.
great. Go read it.
Well, I was
Preacher is
gonna say if it weren't Halloween, I probably still would have said like if you were dressed this exact way and it weren't Halloween, I probably wouldn't have assumed it was any kind of costume. I would have just been like, Bronze is just
Mhm.
looking cool today.
Mhm.
I support
This is the
people
license-
dressing up like it was Halloween every day.
This was given to me as a gift, and I thought it was hilarious because Ankh is very similar to like a cross or an ohm, but this is a licensed Ankh by Vertigo Comics, which I think is fucking the most stupidest shit I've ever heard of. It's using a cross,
Wow.
right, and saying the official Vertigo licensed cross from the
That's-
Preacher, right? It's the same thing. Like, oh,
Oh,
the
is that an onk? No,
Yeah,
this is the
Vertigo
licensed onk.
Ankh. Yeah, it is. It has like a display case that's like Death's Ankh Collier from fucking, and it has the Vertigo logo on. I'm like, right, because it's not that she wears any Ankh, she wears this Ankh that they're gonna
Well,
charge.
here's the
$60
thing.
for.
We wouldn't want to be confused and think you were wearing like an off-brand Ankh or maybe like a Vampire the Masquerade Ankh registered trademark, right? Like they're very different religious symbols that are owned by an ancient people. It's fine.
Yeah, this is a Vertigo licensed Onk, and therefore
Is Vertigo gonna DCMA us or whatever? Are we gonna get in trouble for displaying the official Onk of Image Comics or whatever?
I don't know. Why? You know what? If they do that, your first question should be, motherfucker, why'd you license an Onk? That should be the first thing.
Do you guys know? This is a bit of like urban legend Dungeons and Dragons trivia. Do you guys know about the TSR copywriting Nazi thing? Do you know about this? So some copy editor at TSR, the company that used to be that Wizards of the Coast used to be, the people that made Dungeons and Dragons, they have an Indiana Jones role-playing game. And in the Indiana Jones role-playing game, somehow an errant trademark symbol ended up after the word Nazi. So they were like, what? To play as Indiana Jones registered trademark. As he fights his enemies, the Nazis registered trademark. And it's like, and so that's just become this like urban legend about like the time that D&D tried to trademark Nazis. And every time the trademark conversation comes up, I'm just like, yep, people will try to trademark anything, like the Mountie uniform. So I'm glad that you sprung for the more expensive official version of this ancient sacred symbol.
Gift, but I remember learning that day. I learned grace because when I unwrapped the gift that my friend gave me, my reaction was like, "That's so dumb. Who licenses an?" Thank you.
Thank you.
You remembered that I love Sandman. That's so sweet. I love it. I will display it proudly. Totally not dumb. Can't believe you spent $60 on this, but totally not dumb at all.
You know, I feel like those are the best gifts. Like I feel like when someone buys you something that is just like ludicrous and more expensive than you would ever spend on yourself in a way that you wouldn't, like, not that an expensive present is a good one, but just someone that buys you something that's like, I know that you would never buy this for yourself. I know that you would never spend $60 on a licensed Image Comics Onk, but I would buy that for you. I think that's very touching. People throwing their money at ridiculous things for you. It's a good gift.
Oh yeah,
it's a good gift.
That's supposed to be a gift, right?
I wanted to ask Max, are you gonna rehash your pirate costume tonight, or do you have a different costume? Because I didn't get to see you at TwitchCon. For people who missed it, Max was in full regalia at TwitchCon, and I saw pictures and video, and it was great. But we never got to cross paths. So are you gonna bring it back out of the closet for tonight? Is it hurdy-gurdy time?
I want to.
Have you got something else going on?
I want to, but if I do, I'm gonna have to like do a quick load of laundry because that motherfucker got sweaty. So I was just walking around. So it's like it's in a bag that I packed it, to get there and bring it back. But yeah, I haven't decided yet. The problem with being in full on pirate costume, even just sitting here, like it is not just a light jacket. It is a full on leather like pirate captain's coat that has weight and makes me sweat. And then also if you're wearing the hat, which you have to wear the hat because it looks better with the hat.
Yeah.
That's harder for me then too because I like prefer to have over ear headphones on. I suppose I could do it. I'd have to just have some like earbud kind of shit going on, but maybe I haven't decided. I usually don't do anything super crazy. But I do like that pirate costume. I got some pictures too that were taken at the meet and greet. People loved it. I was so happy everybody loved it at the meet and greet.
It was very popular. Yeah, it looked great. It's a great looking costume. I mean, I don't think you necessarily need to launder that thing. I think you got that pirate stink on you. Just throw some salt water in there. You're good to go. But do you live somewhere where you get do you get trick or treaters at your house?
No, I live in an old white person neighborhood, unfortunately.
These old white people don't have kids, or okay, that's a shame because I was going to say
they're all old retired like people.
You know what that means? That makes you the trick or treater.
Listen, there's a
so now you need to go around your neighborhood and yeah.
I don't think people trick or treat anymore.
Yeah, I feel like
they don't.
Depending on where you're at, but I do think it's gone on the decline a little bit.
Yeah. In my neighborhood, back when I lived in a neighborhood where you would have gotten them, they did like trunk or treat where they all park their cars at the school. I'm not making this up. And they pop their trunks open and they decorate their trunks because everyone's convinced their kids are going to be poisoned with candy or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't trick or treat anymore.
Legitimate fear as a parent, but that's why you just would walk around with them or just be in the vicinity. Yeah. I wish this was a neighborhood that did that more because even if I didn't really go trick or treating or anything like that when I was younger because I didn't really celebrate a whole shit ton. Shitlun? I didn't celebrate a shitlun, Adam.
Shitlun. I don't know about this holiday shitlun, but okay.
Cool. I always enjoyed like watching, and seeing people's. That sounds creepy. I always enjoyed seeing people's.
Just keep talking, Max.
I just dig myself into a fucking hole every fucking time. God damn it. Yeah, no, I like seeing the costumes. I like seeing what people, dream up and stuff. Especially since I didn't celebrate it because I was like, that's cool. I wish I could dress up like that.
I feel like trick or treating is one of those things that, kind of like it really depends on the neighborhood, depends on the city, depends on the environment, and obviously the culture you're a part of. But like for me, when I think of trick or treating, I don't think of real life. I think of like Steven Spielberg movies about the 80s. I'm like, oh yeah, that's that thing that kids used to do. Now they just dress up and post pictures on Instagram. Which you know what, like, live your best life, kids. Live your best life.
Super prevalent in those movies too. Like you don't.
Yeah.
When's the last time you saw a movie and we're like, okay, we're going trick or treat? It's all over the 80s movies. Like it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's like a thing. It's totally a thing. Yeah. Yeah. It's the weird special spookiness of Halloween, I guess. I don't have a lot of trick or treaters in my neighborhood either. I would like someday though to be that guy that lives in the big, dark, scary house at the end of the road that all the kids are scared of. Like I can't wait till I'm old man Coble. Somebody accidentally throws their frisbee on my roof, and I'm just like, it's my frisbee now. Like I can't wait. Can't wait.
You hit them with the look like you do. You're just the classic D&D.
Yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah, and they just run. They just run in fear of me. That's what I want. I want children to fear me. That's my real life goal.
Yeah.
How about you, Anne? What are your life goals? What are your goals and dreams? Do you have trick or treaters in your neighborhood? Are you getting dressed up? Talk about things.
No,
Tell me
not
about
really.
Your Halloween experience. No?
I'm not like a person who really likes to dress up for Halloween or like ever.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing that. And then we don't get kids at our neighborhood, which is fine because I think if we did, my dogs would try to murder them. So,
nice.
Or at least
That's
one
good
of
too.
my dogs would try to murder them. So we usually don't hand out candy. Yeah, I don't know. My usual thing is to eat ice cream and cookies, or and watch Hocus Pocus, which is my favorite Halloween movie. So
Oh, nice.
Yeah, me too.
That is a solid choice.
Nice.
yeah, Bette Midler in that movie is one of my favorite things ever. So yeah, I can't wait.
Nice.
That's my deal.
Yeah, that's a good. I think I'm gonna finally go back and watch that Netflix Castlevania series because I totally missed it the first time through, and people keep telling me I gotta watch it, and it's suitable for the season. It's time. It's Halloween. I gotta watch something creepy. But my favorite Halloween movie is probably The Craft. I don't know when the last time you saw that was, but it's terrible.
Never.
I really like.
I don't know what that
You've
is.
never seen The Craft? What?
I don't even know. Yeah. I've
Oh
never even
man.
known that.
Long time.
Oh man.
Yo, Fairuza Balk. Oh, I don't know what
Right?
happened to her, but whoo, those crazy
Right, like-
eyes. Gives me the
That was her
vapors.
thing. Like, I feel like she was just like in that, and then she vanished. Fairuza Balk was an actress who played like the crazy one in The Craft, and then just sort of evaporated. I think Satan returned her back to the pits of hell. But yeah, that movie. If you haven't seen it, it's a real good Halloween movie. It's like a weird kind of teen witch coven movie. It reminds me. It's sort of like a precursor to like Buffy or Charmed, I want to say. I think Charmed ripped off a bunch of stuff from that movie. It's great. It's really 90s. It's extremely 90s. Yeah. So, you big fan of Charmed there, Mark?
It's just very amusing, the idea of like this horror movie is the precursor to 90s cheesy Charmed. God.
Uh-huh.
Fucking love Charmed.
Well, you know, the 90s were a very special time.
They
special
were.
Oh
time.
yeah, she was in American History X. Okay, I knew I recognized her
Balk?
from something. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
She's
Oh, she
so
was in
fucking
Waterboy. That's right.
She was. Yeah. Yeah.
Man.
That movie. That was a movie.
Yeah. Now I'm thinking about The Craft. But I think for a certain subset of like girls who were ages 12 to 16 in the 90s and who really wished that they had magic powers, like that one scary vampire lady from Buffy, that movie was like gold for them. But I missed it at the time, and now watching it. Yeah, Neve Campbell's in it. There's somebody you probably haven't heard of in a while. So yeah,
Oh,
that's
wow,
my
yeah.
favorite Halloween movie. I really like it. I watched it again recently. It's pretty funny.
My favorite is
and,
Coraline.
yeah. Coraline?
Oh,
I don't think I ever saw that. I don't think I ever saw that one.
It's cute. It's really cute. I really, really like it.
That's written. Did Neil Gaiman write that?
Mhm,
Was he
yeah.
connected to that? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
Mhm.
cool. I remember when it came out.
And I know they made some changes, but I just feel like the movie is really well done. And it has that perfect mix of like a kid going on an adventure, but the entire world is just creepy. And it's cool. I don't know. It's cool. I like it.
Yeah. It feels like it's got that kind of sort of Tim Burton-y, like the world is normal, but normal is creepy kind of vibe.
Mhm.
You know how he does that in his movies where he's like, everybody just accepts that this is how the world is, but when we look at it, we're like, it's a little off and weird. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. Nev Campbell was in House of Cards. My mind right now.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
That's
yeah,
right.
That's her. Whoa.
Wait, really? My brain just
Yeah, she's the like she starts off as like a press assistant, I think, in the first season that she's in. Yeah.
Yeah, so she works for like Claire mostly. Dang, I didn't even put that together.
That's her.
Yeah. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Messing me up.
Now that I'm doing a side by side, I can see it. But holy shit, before that, I wouldn't have put that together.
Yeah, right. I like that. It's like you start thinking about one thing, and then pretty sure 7 hours have gone by, and you're like looking at Kevin Bacon movies on IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
Hollow Man.
Well,
Oh my God.
this episode's for you, Nev Campbell. Good work. Good job, Nev Campbell. You're doing it. So it's Halloween, and that's very exciting for some people. Not so much for me. I'm always like itching for it to be over because tomorrow's my birthday, and then
Every day's Halloween.
Yeah,
for me.
get out of here. I mean, that's also true. I also
Kind of a
just
little
like
bit, right, I think.
you know enjoy Satan every day, and I just try to be my spookiest self all the time. I don't think that we need to dedicate just one day to our dark impulses. I think we can live all year long as if the
right.
black goat of the woods dwelt within our hearts, because he does. He does.
Bruh, the new Call of Cthulhu game.
What's that?
The new Call of Cthulhu game. You can't talk about the black goat and not have that pop into my head.
Has anybody played it? I saw Ken was playing it earlier today, but has anybody played that new? Because I feel like there's a Call of Cthulhu game that just comes out every couple of years, and they're never good.
This one actually, so far, it's not bad. Are there things that would change? Yes. Is it very much a Cthulhu game? Also, yes.
I haven't.
I like
That's it.
I haven't looked
I
at
like
it. I heard about it, but I haven't really like given it any attention myself. Let me know
It's
if it's
kind of-
worth the time. Maybe.
I don't know. It's kind of in the vein of like, I guess a little bit like Outlast. A little. That's a really shitty comparison, in a sense that like you don't actually fight things. I think like the weirdest thing is people come in while I'm streaming it and they're like, do you fight things in this game? I'm like, existential horror? Like, I don't know. Like that's you know what I mean? Like it's Cthulhu. Like how would you fight?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you don't
that's-
really
That's
like.
the problem.
Like you can't.
That's the problem with Cthulhu. I think that's the problem with RPGs about Cthulhu stuff too, where you're like, you get a group of people together and you're like, a strange mystery of eldritch horror is happening, and then someone's like, cool, I attack the darkness with magic missile, and someone else is like, I buy 27 rocket launchers. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Great, sure. The horror is lost.
Yeah.
It's
And I
very,
think
very difficult to do.
in summary, I'll say this about it since my description was kind of shitty. The game does a good job, and I'll be really sad if it ends shittily or if it has a shitty ending or a shitty explanation. The game does a really good job of making you question, like, okay, is this a dream or is this a dream or is this a dream or is this part a dream or is that part a dream? And I feel like that's very like the game opens with a nightmare. And then you kind of like it makes
JP,
you
if you could
question,
just
like, what's
play
real?
the Inception trailer noise now, that'd be great. If you could just go ahead and do that.
Dream
That'd be
within a
perfect.
dream.
Yeah, totally.
But this isn't the kind of dream where you have to jump across floating platforms in a big void.
No.
It's constantly teleporting away from
You don't remember that from the Call of Cthulhu, the part where Inspector Legrasse had to make a platforming puzzle so that he could go and solve and there's some DLC in the middle of
That's
Call
how
of Cthulhu.
all
so-
dreams are done in games, Adam. That's how all dream sequences are done.
You're talking
With
to
the monologue.
Cthulhu. You're talking to Cthulhu in a mysterious void, and you're on a piece of rock. I see you've made it to my realm.
Yeah, that's right. You got to collect key cards, the key cards of Cthulhu.
Yep.
Listen to some audio logs. It'll be great. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things. I'm excited about the idea. Every time I'm like, cool, a Call of Cthulhu game. That should be fun. And then they're always just kind of like, I don't know. It's not for me. But maybe it's good. Every time, same thing. I'm like, maybe this time. Maybe this time. I heard somebody in chat was saying that they talked about this on Drop Frames. So I'm gonna go listen to that because I'm curious. Even though Co
What
is
show
always
is
right.
that again?
I don't know. It's this show. I always feel like I'm just sitting around waiting for it to be over for some reason. Like I got better things to do while Drop Frames.
Wow. Wow.
Just kidding. Drop Frames is great. Don't turn off the show, JP. Should we play Far Verona? We've been talking a lot. Like post show, we've been talking about it in the Slack. We've been talking about it at a panel at TwitchCon. We've been discussing a fair bit about what is to be done about that last scene. And I think we've come to a conclusion. So how far back do we want to adjust? Right? Like at what
when
point?
Booker was in charge of I'm just kidding. Could you imagine if we just zipped all the way back?
You know what? Yeah, you know what, guys? We've been talking and we just Far Verona was a mistake, and we're gonna play something different. Who wants to play Paranoia?
Right before JP asked us to do this show, that's when I want to go back.
Yeah, let's just retcon to like August of 2015. Okay.
I think.
Yeah. So how far back makes sense?
I think before, like after the Amira had her conversation with the dude and
Cruz, yeah, where she was like, "I want to get out of here."
Yeah, and then when we were like on our way back, I don't feel like we have to go very far back. There was just like that one tiny piece that we did incorrectly. So, because like we kind of skipped over, like no one even told us what happened to the chaplain until we were like already in her room. So we like didn't even know what was going on. So if that's agreeable to everyone, I think that's fair.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
Unless the Amira wanted to redo the conversation with the Trillion dude, but I think you were satisfied.
No, I
No.
think that's fine. So the last let's recount real quick. So there was we're gonna keep the tension that happened. Like this isn't go back and everything's fucking sunshines and lollipops. This is like you have that tense conversation outside about what to do about these fucking peasants. And the Amira and the Cirrus have a disagreement about that. And the Amira goes inside, has a conversation with Aram Cruz about getting the fuck out of here, about getting on a spaceship, a very Trillion spaceship, and like leaving because things are bad.
So Trill.
And then you go, and then the Amira goes to you're going to get your friend and be like, come on, we're packing, let's get out of here. And then she was all tears for the chaplain. And that's when you found out that Valencio had been killed. And I think that the moment that we'll rewind to is just you in your room packing as Nomi and Booker come back inside. But we can't just rewind. We can't just go back on things that we know have happened. We don't have that power, right? The Amira and Booker and Nomi are bound to the fate that is laid out before them. But they're not the only ones. So I think when we fade in, we see the embassy and we see the last kind of moments of what's happening outside. This is all frozen, so the camera is moving around, but everyone is freeze framed in place. It's a very expensive shot. So we see two peasants helping a third up from the ground. We see blood stained on the floor outside. There is the glow of the perimeter security around the embassy, the big purple house crux kind of barriers. And there are still a few soldiers outside giving dirty looks to the peasants, like as if we would love it if you tried to rush the embassy. Please, just please try. So moonlight off of their black helmets, guns clenched in hand, and we cut to the interior. There is a long sort of tracking shot through the inside. We see Nomi and Booker as they've opened the door. They're coming inside, and I believe we see Arnahan a bit ahead of you with Tomomi Emerson in tow. She is headed for the brig for protective custody. but we'll see about her fate later. She looks scared and like she doesn't know if she's made the right decision. The look on her face is one of confusion and worry about her own future and about whether coming to Crux, to the embassy, was the right idea. And helping her with her confusion is Arnahan. Helmet off, hair a bit mussed. She's got a hand on the back of Emerson's neck and is treating her like a criminal. She's not getting knocked around or anything, but she's looking at her like, you better not try anything. Like, she doesn't fully trust this woman because a turncoat is a turncoat, and the only thing worse than a traitorous, treasonous peasant is one who's turned on their organization. So Arnahan is giving her a dirty look, like I again, this Crux look of I wish you would. So we kind of pan past them, and we see the Amira in her room. The door is shut, and she has her case open, and we see your assistant, whatever her name was, very gently placing your highly polished, now very clean boots in the bottom of your luggage. And there's tension in this moment, right? There's something is clearly about to happen. And then we watch it all play out the way it did before. We hear the knock on the door. We see the door burst open. Booker and Nomi come in. Things clearly escalate to the point where Amira draws her sword, and everything freezes. And we see, moving into this frozen space, we see somebody. They're wearing just like simple kind of plain clothes. They have a black hooded sweatshirt on. The hood is down. They have like bright neon hair that is shifting colors, so it's shifting through a rainbow, kind of like an expensive esports keyboard. They're wearing sweatpants and like sneakers, and every time they step, the sneakers blink brightly and give off a faint like air horn sound. And on the back, as they walk in, the camera pans around behind this person, and we see on the back of their sweatshirt in enormous puffy gold letters, we see the words "These nuts" on the back of their jacket. And they walk in and they look around, and we can see they're wearing like stunner shades, so the shades with the slats in them. They're like looking around, kind of at the sword, shaking their head, and they take off their glasses, and their eyes, their pupils are like dollar signs, and we see them like blink, look around the room, and then they turn and they look right at the camera. So they're clearly like addressing like the audience. They have a sight that pierces the fourth wall, and they look right at the audience, and they're like, "Wow, this got fucked up, didn't it?" And not like in the fun way, like when that priest exploded. No, I don't think it's supposed to be like this. All right. And everything rewinds. We see it all moving backwards very quickly to that moment we described at the beginning. Yeah, exactly. It gives you that like backwards rewinding sound, and it snaps back to Nomi and Booker about to enter the room, and the guild member shakes his head, and they say, "Wow, my money was on the Amira, but I guess we'll have to save the sword fight for later." And then there's a popping sound as they disappear. Sound returns, and slowly things return to motion. So Nomi and Booker walk in, and you can see in the background there is a TV playing a news article. And Nomi, Booker, you walk into the room, and you can let me know what you want to do. Before we do that, I wanna get goals from everybody. So let's do goals, because I think everybody's got some shit to accomplish. So let's get your goals. Mark, I'm gonna save you for later. I want to do this scene, and then we'll catch up with the various bloody chunks that make up the chaplain.
Yeah.
So Booker, Nomi, you're on. What do you want to do today?
Nomi's goal
And yeah,
is to talk to Yancy and like about kind of like debrief him on what happened on the surface, and then like get him to send backup, basically, or to like have him make the decision about
Right. So
proceed, you know?
you're okay, so you want to get in touch with Yancey and like turn
Mhm.
things over to him, but to accomplish what? Right? Like Yancey can help you with whatever your goal is, but talking to Yancey isn't not really a goal. Like what is that like to accomplish what?
I want more boots on the ground, basically. Like,
Right.
I
So
don't
like
think we're equipped to
convince
deal with this situation. So
Okay.
I want him to
Yeah.
like, I want him to like send more people, and to like, we need to be better armed, not just like with guns, but with like actual bodies.
Right. Yeah.
Calling in
Okay.
stormtroopers. Mhm.
Totally. Okay. So convince Yancey to escalate.
Yeah.
Okay, the Crux presence. Excellent. Cool. Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, that's very cool because then that means you're backed up and you're actually operating like a larger group of people that you can do more.
Yeah. These people
Okay.
are really
All
well
right.
armed, and we're just like 4 of us. So, well, 3.
Yeah. Okay. Booker, what do you want to do?
3 and some chunks.
Shit. It's hard to think about all this stuff. We basically just went and last time like talked to, or at least tried to talk to and confirm whether or not you have to help me with names.
Yeah, you met with Talat Lau, and you know, everybody sort of got their
as well. We didn't.
Yeah, so everybody sort of got their own. Everybody's got their own impressions of Lau, right? Whether Talat Lau is explicitly part of the problem or not.
Yeah.
That might be something, right? Like arrest Talat Lau might be a thing that you want to do, or if you still want to investigate more, like investigate the elders' connection to Lau.
Yeah, I think that's what Booker would want to do. Investigate further the try to find the connection between Reverend Elder and Talat Lau and what that is, I guess. I hate being so descriptive with a goal because then it's just like, well, you didn't do this part of the goal, so I don't know.
I think I'm pretty generous about the goals.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you want to phrase that? So, like, give me an action
investigate
word.
the connection between Talat Lau and Reverend Elder further.
Okay, sure.
I think that's a simple way of putting it.
Yeah, sure. I know I could fairly clearly understand when you do or when you've accomplished this. Okay.
Also, Mark, didn't you used to have a beard?
I did. Yes.
Okay, I'm just confirming that I'm not crazy.
Very observant detective. Yes, I did once have a beard.
You're not gonna get that past me, motherfucker.
It's a very important part of my head. Especially my head here,
I see everything.
I like that just came out of nowhere too.
I was gonna ask him earlier, but people were talking, so
that's perfect. It's good. You're like, great. It's my turn to talk. All right. So, Emira, Kieran, what do you want to do?
I want to secure passage to safe passage to a Vela held ship or property. But I don't know. This is kind of a two-parter. But I also want to. How do I say this without spoiling what I want to do? I also want to establish contact with.
If you want your goal to be a secret, if you don't want to like give it up, you can just message it to me on Slack.
It's not sinister so much as I feel like when I do it,
no, it's cool.
It'll be cooler when I do it.
You can message it in the Far Verona channel if you want to let the other players know what it is, but not the chat. You got lots of options. You don't have to announce it. Yeah.
Okay, because it's kind of like a lead-in. Obviously, everybody knows. I think by now that this character kind of has to leave the show. Thanks, House Vela. But I had a little bit. I wanted to sow a seed of like what my next character could be, and that's what the goal is in relation to. Is that possible?
Okay.
I'll message you.
So do you want to message me? Okay, message me that.
Okay.
Shit. All right. Okay. All right. So Booker and Nomi, you walk back into the embassy, having just witnessed the kind of diffusing by Crux force of a potential situation in which the the peasants could have gotten violent, but they didn't. But Nomi, it's made it very clear to you that this situation requires a stronger hand than the church and the Trillion Corporation have been able to place on Berkman. So what do you do? The two of you come in. You're in the central room. You can hear the kind of like faint background buzzing of a news article running on the feed, and it seems pretty quiet in here.
Yeah. So I don't know how to like contact Yancy from here. You said I had to go to the embassy, right? So like that's where we were, but
Yeah, you're in the embassy. So there's like a secure
okay.
channel that you can
probably
use. So
have
you
to
can
go
go
to
you can go
Okay,
to the
great.
comms room.
Yes, I would do that then. Go to the comms room.
Okay. Now is that something you make clear to Booker, or do you just go?
Oh, yeah, sure. So like I
Oh
guess
right,
I
Booker's
would-
up. Goddamn, he's
right,
here.
Booker's
Shit.
part of this. Yeah, I think I would like tell him that I would say I need to speak with Officer Yancey about the situation here. On the surface, it's I think beyond our control right now. Do you think that you could try to figure out what happened with the chaplain? I know he went he said that he needed to go deal with some church business, but we haven't heard from him since, so
Right. Yeah, I'll try to see what I can find out. See what ended up happening. I agree, though. The situation's going to get even crazier. We better be ready for it. Hopefully he
yes,
agrees.
these farmers are much more organized and well armed than I expected. Hopefully
Well,
Yancey can
crazy is
solicit some support.
crazy. Doesn't matter if they're holding pitchforks or laser pistols. It's unpredictable. You need a tough boot to keep them in line.
So yeah, I kind of like smile at him and then I just say, I like nod my head and I say, "Thank you, Officer Greaves," and then I'll go to the comms room.
He kind of like cocks an eyebrow at that after she turns. Like, thank you.
Right. Okay. So Nomi, the Cirrus heads off to towards the secure, like the communication suite, leaving you in this room, Booker. You are alone for the first time in some time, and it's
He just
night.
breaks
It's quite
down
late.
crying. It's just too much for now.
I mean, I mean, so this room has it has like sort of like a kitchen area off to one side with a black like marble countertop and some food like storage units, and then like a food preparing like a stove, and then there are some like leather couches around a sort of coffee table, and then up on the wall across from it there is a usually transparent, but someone left the TV on and it's just kind of like chattering away.
Mhm. I think
that's the room you're in.
Yeah, I think since he's got some time now to just chill for a moment, probably gonna make himself some coffee or something like that, coffee or tea,
Okay.
and then just chill for a second. And like you said, if the TV's on, he's probably just paying attention to that while he's
Yeah.
brewing
So
the
you walk
coffee and tea.
over. You walk over to the coffee machine, and you notice that somebody has left something. You spot it because the color is incongruous with the rest of the place. Like everything here is Crux color. It's like black and gold and purple. But you notice there is an object on the counter, and as you walk over to it, you see it's like a coin shaped, like a circular. Look what this says, it's like an inch across, and it's like a bright magenta color. With a black ring of lines on it, and yeah, it's just sitting on the counter.
Okay. Booker would not exactly pick it up right away, but take a look. So it's like this weird kind of looking coin thing that just doesn't match up
And
to any
it's sitting up. It's not flat on the table. There's like a little magnet on the back. It's like a pin. It's like a sci-fi, like a badge, little magnetic sci-fi like badge, and it's just sitting on the counter like somebody left it there.
Booker investigates with science.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it's probably made out of plastic or metal.
Tell me more.
Small. Without touching it, you don't. I mean, you can't tell anything
Any
else.
fingerprints?
Pick it up. Pick it up.
Yeah, no, he picks it up.
I mean, okay, yeah, it's like it's like cool. In your hand, you just like turn it over. I mean, you've seen these before. Like it's just a little like it's a pin or a badge. You've seen them. They'll have like slogans on them or like characters or whatever. But,
You
yeah,
must
cool metal.
understand that sometimes I forget I'm not playing Court of Swords with you. So when it's like, here's this thing.
17 demons spring out of it and rip off your
Do
face.
you touch it?
You're not.
It's also
the-
Halloween,
fine.
Adam. So it could very
true.
easily be like you touch it and all of a sudden
You get transported to the skeleton realm.
Like,
Yeah. So there's just a little this little badge sitting there. You don't think you've seen any of the people that work here wearing it, but yeah.
all right. So it's just a badge that doesn't match up to anything else that is like our uniforms or anything like that. Okay. Is there any indication where should I roll like a no or if I've
Make a no roll with intelligence.
Okay. Oop. Hey, that's a pretty good roll.
Something about it seems familiar, but you don't know what. Like you're pretty sure you've seen this like on a TV show or on a commercial or something before, but not. Like you're just like this seems familiar, this iconography, but
I'd also like to point out that I mean I don't know if you're gonna fight me on this, but when I Booker would have picked it up from like the edges, so as to not get fingerprints, if you wanted to check it in case it does become something.
Yeah. You have like in your uniform, you would have like a small like an evidence pocket somewhere you could just drop it in the pocket with seal, so you could keep it safe.
That's where you'd be putting it in. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
You said it. Did you give me any real info on it? I kind of zoned out.
No, like you rolled a 10, but you just get vague feelings of familiarity.
Okay. Then for now, he's just gonna pocket it.
Okay.
Go back
so you start making yourself coffee, and you shift your attention to the TV, and you see on it there's like some kind of tragedy, like a car accident or something. You can see a bunch of vehicles. This is blurry. It's in the background because they're interviewing someone who's like, this is the part of the tragedy, or they're interviewing people who like witnessed it or who are affected by it. So in the background, there's the orange and red of a fire. And there you're in some kind of like vehicle area, and then in the foreground there is a prism, a newscaster, and she's interviewing a woman who is like just crying about something, and the bottom third says tragedy in the spaceport, explosion, several dead, including priest. And keep watching.
Yeah, Booker's kind of just staring at that. Like, does it say like exactly like the location where it was?
Yeah, if you keep watching, they're interviewing a dock worker who like witnessed the whole thing, and this person is like trying to keep it together. They're obviously a religious person. They're clutching a rosary trademark. And they're holding it, and they're like crying, and they're like, I can't, these kinds of things, they happen sometimes, but to a priest, it's just such a shame. And like, they got like, she's got tears streaming down his face, and they're just like obviously really upset. And this isn't the part of the interview where factual information is important. They're just like, yes, it is a tragedy, and like,
right.
Yeah. So you're hanging out watching that. And it looks like in the background, the automated drones are kind of like foaming down the fire, and it's like kind of burning out. So your coffee pings, and you pick it up, and you can walk over there if you want, sit down and watch the rest of the broadcast.
Yeah, I think he's gonna try to figure out. I mean, in his mind, he's already like, that's probably the chaplain, but there are a lot of priests on this planet. So yeah,
there's a distinct feeling that you have, and to spin a real world analogy on it, I was at an event once, and I had parked my car in a parking lot, and I was walking back from the event, and there was smoke coming from the parking lot, and I was like, "Huh, wouldn't it be funny if that was my car?" Spoiler: it was my car. So you're having that feeling of like, "Oh, wait a second. No, I'm sure there's a lot of priests on this planet, but what if no?" And so this is kind of like happening as you look at it.
Yeah.
And we cut from there to Nomi. And Nomi, you have just input your codes, your Signet scan, and the door opens to the Crux secure suite. So inside there is it's a fairly simple, like a small room. It has a computer terminal with recording like equipment. So there's a camera and there's like a microphone, and it's specifically for communicating securely with other Crux assets. You've used these before a bunch of times. So you walk in, and the sort of the door seals shut behind you, and there's a light that turns on to let you know that the room is clear of bugs and it is sealed.
Okay, cool. Then I'll just go to wherever I need to like start the call with Yancey.
Okay, yeah. So you sit down, and Yancey he's in system, right? The Prudence is in orbit over the planet, so you can request an immediate, like, direct connection. And so
Okay.
so you sit down and enter your commands. And how do you want to make it clear to him that this is an emergency, or is this like a gentle request, or?
I would say not an emergency yet. Just like I need to speak with you. Important,
just like a
but
regular-
not an emergency.
Okay, all right. So it connects you to the Prudence. You speak with one of the comms officers. They patch you through, and Yancey actually answers like quite quickly. It's audio only. You don't get the little hologram of him, but he comes on the other end, and he says, "Cirrus, how are things on Berkman?"
I'm afraid, sir, that they are much worse than we had feared. It appears that the rebels on the planet are very organized and heavily armed. I
had
think
hoped
that
I'd hoped that nabbing Karsten would have cut off some of their resources. Still organized, you say?
yes, extremely. There are multiple factions involved, and we are having trouble peeling apart the layers.
That is a shame. I don't imagine you've just called me to tell me you're failing, have you?
Of course not, sir. It is my belief at this time that the best course of action would be a show of force. I think that
He doesn't say anything. There's no connection. Like, there's no difference in the connection. But as soon as you say show of force, you can, like, almost just sense him smiling. He doesn't have to change anything about the way he says. So you can feel it in the absence of words. Sorry, continue.
Yep.
Okay, so you say you think a show of force.
Show of force, yeah. The church may or may not be working with the rebels. We're trying to understand where all of the pieces fall, but as it is, I'm concerned for the safety of my crew and our team here on the ground.
Well, as the leading expert on the practical situation down there, would love to hear what you have to suggest. Is this a withdrawal, and we leave our friends in the High Church to clean up the mess? Or do we turn up the heat?
Oh, God. I don't know. This feels like the part in the game where it's like time stops and it's like press A to go this way and press B to go this way, and you're just
Black
like,
and
this
white.
is the decision
Yeah. It slows
that
down.
I have to make. Oh no.
F5.
Yeah.
What will you do?
The Empire has asked us to resolve the situation here on Berkman. In your position, do you feel that Berkman is a planet of great significance to us? Is it important that we stay here and try to knock them into line? Or is this a place where we could defer and let them sort out their own small problems?
Every system in Acheron Row belongs to the Emperor. Just because we don't have one right now doesn't mean we can let these vermin multiply. I personally believe that once the prince takes the throne, I'd like his house to be in order. I don't think it would be wise for us to just leave Berkman behind. I'm concerned, though. You say you think the church might be involved?
We met with Reverend Elder Michaela. She is the public face of the church down here on Berkman, and her motives were unclear to me. They have been working with the Trilliant Ring on the very large cathedral, which is the point of pain for many of the residents on the planet.
You hear him scoff quietly, not at you, but at the peasants and their pain.
We spoke with one of the pastors on the planet, who seems to be one of the many leaders of this political movement against the church, and his opinion was that what they really need down on Berkman is a leader who they can at least work with. So I think that the way to resolve the situation is to instill some kind of... We need to put someone in charge, basically. Like the Empire, they're lacking a leader.
I think you're right. Their squabbling isn't doing anyone any good. I don't think that it's safe to move until we know the church's involvement. Can you find this Elder Michaela? Hold on a moment. I'm sending you something. And you hear the call mute for a second. And during that period, maybe 30, 45 seconds later, your personal comms badge, it like blinks and you look at your comm device, and you've been sent a warrant for the arrest of Elder Michaela. He comes back and he says, "There we are. Go and find this priest and bring her in for questioning. If it turns out that she's working on her own, then we don't have a church problem. We have a terrorist problem, and those are easy to clean up. If it sounds like this goes deeper, it's going to be a little harder to put boots on the ground. So go and find the Elder Michaela and have a conversation with her. Remember, Karsten said Berkman was their next target. There has to be a contact point. If it's this priest, well, at least we'll have a scapegoat."
As you wish, sir. We do have another thread that we can pull. As it stands, I will find this Elder Michaela and bring her to you for questioning. I will also investigate the other name that we have yet to locate. If you would, do you think you could...
You have another name. Would you like to share it with me?
Yes, sir. Alders.
Doesn't ring a bell, but I'll pass it through intelligence.
Yes, if you find anything relevant, I would appreciate any assistance you can provide. Speaking of, if you could possibly spare some more troops for us down here. We've already misplaced our chaplain, who was swept in some kind of business with the church, and we're trying to make contact with him again. But I'm concerned about how heavily armed these farmers are.
That's the trouble with peasants. There's just so damn many of them. Well,
Indeed.
find both of these priests. Make sure the chaplain is all right, and get your hands on the elder and see what they have to say. As far as troops go, I'll see what I can do. We're having a bit of a complicated time with some trade organization. Imperial propaganda. Listen, I'm very busy. I've got to go. And you can hear there's like a buzzing sound of his comm going off.
Mm.
And can you make a no roll with wisdom? I want to see if you pick up on something.
Rolls 7.
Okay. You get the impression that he has spent longer talking to you than he should, and that he like interrupted something else to have this conversation.
Mm.
And now he like can't. He's got to go back to whatever he was doing before. Like he went out of his way to like talk to you and help you with this, and now he's like, okay,
Yeah.
now I actually have to go.
Okay.
And so yeah, so he says, I have nothing but faith in you, Cirrus. Keep in touch. Stay safe down there.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So it clicks off.
Just end the call. Yeah.
So meanwhile, the Amira, you're in your room. What are you doing?
Sorry, I was muted.
That's cool.
Well, while my handmaiden, such a weird word, while my assistant is packing. Well,
we'll come up. You know what? We'll come up with as many alternate
wear
words.
the wings?
Come with as many alternate words for it as you want.
Mhm.
Let's see. We'll run out of synonyms eventually.
Yeah. While my intern is packing my bags.
Thrall, vassal, whatever.
Those are such nasty words. I'm gonna open up my comm link and send a message. Let's see. Wonder if I want to send it to my aunt. We're pretty far from Hakani, I'm assuming.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so it'd take a long time for any message to get back, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I mean the only other Vela that you know like closely. I mean there are other Vela around. There's one on like every ship basically, but the only one that you know definitely is on the Prudence right now.
Okay, well I'll send my aunt a message then.
Okay,
and I'll ask her if she has. I'll let her know that I'm planning on a reassignment very soon. And oh gosh, I don't know if I should send this to her because I don't like. Are all your communications monitored?
so
Assuming yes.
Off-world comms have to pass through essentially like a cell tower that fire them off to like a Prism satellite. And they're insecure on their way to it. Yeah. Chances are pretty good your comms would be routed through the embassy's network. And you know how crooks do.
Yeah, they're gonna read everything. Fuck. I'll wait. I'll wait.
Yeah, I mean it's just an embassy, right? Like you're not in the sort of crux prison industrial headquarters or anything. So like it may take time. They may not be looking for you particularly. So you might still have time to like get it through if it's something particularly sensitive. But yeah, the thought does cross your mind.
Yeah, yeah. I will hold off then.
Okay. Yeah. So you're packing up, and your friend, your serf, she's doing that thing where she doesn't want to interrupt, and she knows to only speak when she's spoken to, but her body language is like nervous, and she like wants to be prompted to speak to you.
Yeah. I look to her and I say, "Yes, what is it?"
I was just wondering, are we going back to the Prudence, or her eyes are still all puffy from when she was crying over the chaplain?
Yeah. Well, Elizabeth, the thing is that I actually think that is her name.
It actually is her name, yes.
Ah, yeah, I got it.
You came all the way back around.
I finally remembered. And I say, well, Elizabeth, things have gone a bit south, especially learning of the chaplain's demise, which I suppose your tears were more than justified, but you really got to learn to kind of hold those things inside. It just makes things worse. Yes, we are leaving. I don't think that this group is one that I can operate with good faith anymore. But don't worry,
you can see that she's confused and like hanging on the verge of getting upset again.
Yeah, yeah. But don't worry. I've got a safe way for us to get back to maybe a Valen shuttle or ship, and from there we can make our way back home. And I'll also make arrangements for them. It doesn't feel right to leave everyone behind, but with the chaplain gone, me leaving as well, and I'll arrange for that too. You just have to find a place where I can send a secure transmission. I've already thought of something. Don't distress yourself any further.
Let's see if that works. Let's see if that's something that she listens to. Can you make a talk roll with charisma?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So she holds back whatever tears that we're gonna go, and she nods, and she says, "Yes, Amira, of course." And while she doesn't seem entirely like confident, she at least isn't going to be a liability for now.
Okay. For now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So so she goes back to helping you get the last of your stuff packed. So we cut back to Booker, and Booker, you are watching as you see the news article, and they do that thing where, for anybody who's just tuning in, hot news. What has happened is there seems to have been, for now, the authorities are saying that it could be. There's no reason to believe that it is a terrorist attack. This looks like it was just a simple shuttle malfunction. There was an explosion that has claimed the lives of several of the shuttle facilities workers and one visiting priest from off-world. And you see a stock photo of Chaplain Valencio come up on the display, and yeah, on the thing underneath it says, like, noted high church officiate killed in shuttle accident. And they're basically just talking about some like the Chaplain Valencio was in some very like mushy kind of, like, he was known for his charity work on whatever, but
him like this, like.
Yeah, know for a fact that it's like just a bunch of sort of generic bullshit, because you're pretty sure that the chaplain, like, didn't build a church on Imperial Prime or whatever. But yeah, the Prism, the news report is saying that the chaplain has been killed by this explosion.
Booker sees that and he's just like, slightly loses his grip on his coffee for a second, but catches it. He's just like,
yeah,
shit.
So
just
you
like
say
he
that
immediately goes to his pad and just starts.
Well, before you get to do anything, the shot is like a close up, right? Shoulders up of Booker, like eyes wide. We see the reflection of the screen. You're like, shit, and it cuts to black, and then we see slowly sort of fade in. We see a sort of sepulchral like chamber, right? We're looking up at a black like marble roof. It's like arched, this beautiful black and gold marble. There are columns kind of like supporting it. We can hear faintly somewhere the sound of an organ playing and like a choir singing, but it's obviously like somewhere far away. into the frame occasionally will drift, borne on a breeze, some kind of like light fabric, like a white kind of transparent fabric that kind of like drifts past. And Chaplain, you awaken remembering only the face of that woman and the sudden burst of heat and force.
Mhm.
And in that moment, you remember the part of your brain. It's the same part of your brain that reacts to like putting your hand on the stove and like pulling your hand away. Something happened. And you remember being like pulled away from that, but not quite fast enough. And then there was pain, and there was light, and then there was darkness. And now you're in this, and you see we're seeing from your perspective. We see you look up, and that's when we cut to the external shot of the chaplain, and you were laying in this huge, like oversized, like king-sized bed with the big black wooden like poster like on either side, and the fabric that was blowing in is the edge of this. There's a window open somewhere, and you could feel a breeze kind of blowing through the room. There's a terrible pain in your shoulder, and you feel like hazy.
I will groggily kind of trying to, blink, look around me. Probably try and see if check any of my weapons and things were there. Like I think he'd go into survival.
Yeah, you're
check
not
and see if
right. So
Yeah.
we see you from one side, and we see you like you're like patting yourself down. You're wearing like a gown, so you're not wearing your normal clothes. You have bandages wrapped around your neck. There is some kind of like medical prosthesis like thing on your face. And you feel like heat. You're just like this radiating heat. And all of your stuff seems to is gone. You look around and you can see the bed that you're in is in the center of like a massive room. Like it's just out in the middle, and the room is like probably 500 feet to a side. The floor is a white and silver marble that reflects the marble of the ceiling. There are these like huge, beautiful columns, and you can see on the walls there are enormous like oil paintings, some of which are sort of vaguely familiar to you, but yeah, you seem like kind of alone in this room. There's a glowing light coming from panels above you, and there are there's I think next to you there's a stand with a bunch of medical equipment on it. So there's like a monitor that's got leads running down into the sleeve of your outfit, and are attached to you in places. You can hear a faint beeping sound that increases with frequency when you sit up.
Is it like an IV or anything in? Because I'd probably start trying to pull some stuff out, IV or the patches off. Kind of try to
So
come to.
you turn to like reach for the IV, and we look down. We haven't seen it. We look down and we see your arm, and it's not your arm. Do you want to describe what it looks like?
Yeah, it's solid gold.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Fucking gold muscular arm. That's kind of been very tailored to match the same shape and size of his old one. But maybe like faint lines crisscross all up and down along the wrist, palm, the fingers, but very faint. Like you wouldn't notice them unless it was like really closely looking up. And maybe like in the very center of the palm, there's just a tiny, almost like a tiny dot. Right in the middle of the palm itself, and I'm just kind of looking at it bizarrely, and then seeing how far it goes up, and it goes all the way up to the shoulder, the actual shoulder joint. And I just
what's your response to it when you look at it?
It's just there's probably like just a like what the hell, just like a kind of real, hand up to the head, like. Am I still dreaming? What is this? And then like kind of stumbling up and trying to kind of get myself up and ground myself in some reality, I think. Like try and reach out and grab something and
yeah. So you sit up and you feel like a little dizzy, but you hear a hissing sound as there's a door across the way, like that opens. A door hisses open. You see several people coming inside. So there are 3 what look like technicians. They've got kind of like hospital gowns, but they're white. They have gloves on and they have face masks. And one of them is carrying a tray. The other 2, they're talking quietly when they come in, and then behind them, there's a woman in a gray suit, and you can hear her heels clicking loudly on the marble as she approaches. She is
trays have go on.
I was gonna say at this distance, you can't really make out much more than like she's kind of short and she has blonde hair in like a bob, and you can't really make out any more details about her pale skin.
Okay. If I see the technicians are carrying stuff, if it looks like any of it could even remotely be mistaken as a weapon, he's probably like grabbing like the tray or something like that, hauling himself out, almost ready to kind of kick off.
Right. So your response is a fight or flight one?
Yeah, kind of thing.
Okay.
I think like he fused, he's dazed, and seeing 3 technicians that he doesn't really know, knowing that Berkman has obviously got something, like, because as far as he knew, he was called up to the cathedral by the high church and then he was blown up. So I think like at this point it's like grabbing the tray, like, you know, bringing it round almost like a rudimentary kind of like club or throwing weapon or something.
Sure. Okay.
And just probably yelling sort of like, "Who are you people? What have you done to me?"
Okay, so your reaction is surprising. You start to react, and you frighten the technicians enough to stop them. The woman, we see her a little closer now. She has she looks like she's probably like, God, like 19, maybe 20. She looks really young. She's wearing gold lipstick, and she's grinning. She grins when she sees you. The technicians are like, ugh, they like kind of startle a little bit, and they back up a little bit and watch you. And you're like, who are you people? And she says to you, she says, "Welcome to the Temple of Justice, Chaplain. You're safe."
The cathedral. I did not make it to the cathedral. The explosion. And then I probably noticed the gold lipstick and the grey suit, and probably make some assumptions. Brilliant, aren't you?
She nods.
Why are you here? Where's the high church? What is going on?
She's nodding as you're speaking, and she says, sort of placatingly, "I understand you must be confused. I imagine I would be too, if I had gone through that. But I assure you, you're safe. You're home, surrounded by people who only want to see you get better. The church
Young
paid
lady,
quite a lot to make sure that you would survive. I think the Inquisitor feels a bit bad about what happened."
The Inquisitor.
It was his personal comms that led you here.
No. I received a call. Which Inquisitor are we talking about?
She's like, let me come a little closer, because you're having this conversation over quite a distance. She puts her hands up like, you're fine. And as much, she puts her hands to the other guys like, it's you're fine. Relax. He's not gonna kill you.
I'll put the tray down. I'll put my tray down.
Yeah. Though you could kill them with this tray, especially with your new cool arm. So you remember now vaguely the call was from an Inquisitor Akinyemi. And they were like, you gotta come up here right now. So this woman, she walks over slowly. Again, the only sound, like you can just barely hear the choir singing. Maybe you thought you were imagining it before, but you can just barely hear it in another room. But you can hear the clicking of her heels as she comes closer. And she stops, and she reaches into her pocket and she hands you with these perfectly manicured black fingernails. She hands you a card.
Take it.
Okay.
Flip it.
Yeah.
Read it.
So it's got the trillion diamond on it, and it says Veronica Zuri, technical director in charge of prosthesis. And she looks at it and looks at you, and she says, "You're lucky I was here." And then she looks at your arm.
I assume that I indeed. You said that the church paid some considerable sum for me to survive, and I'll hold up the arm. I'm assuming, as you mentioned, that this is your work.
Well, not mine personally, but my team. Yes. I'm sorry to say the original was lost. We've done everything that we could for. And she gestures at the medical thing you've got on your face. There shouldn't be any permanent damage. Really, when you come out the other side, you should be better off.
Certainly in some ways, though perhaps not the ones that we are both thinking. How long have I been...
She raises an eyebrow slightly.
How long have I been out? Have I been unconscious for long?
Not very long. Just long enough for us to get you up here and fix you up. A few more days for the graft to take. These things are really quite quick now. The technology's quite amazing.
The technology
and you notice...
Yeah.
You notice there's... You look at her and you notice that, like... Yeah, something... Make a no roll with wisdom.
Ooh, notice with wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
Okay. Yeah, she's giving you some like weird uncanny valley like vibes. Like there's something about the like about her presence that's unsettling to you. You can't quite put your finger on why.
Can't put my finger on it. Why?
Yeah.
You mentioned technology. Is this not just a prosthesis? Is this not just a replacement arm?
Is the Mona Lisa just a painting?
Forgive me, I am not particularly interested in art and culture. Should I be expecting any trilliant modifications, should I say?
We'll make sure that you have the entire user manual made available to you. I think that you'll find it suitable for your requirements.
And has the High Church been made aware of the exact nature of the explosion? Is anyone investigating it? This was not some simple accident, as I'm sure many others have guessed.
We had hoped that when you were ready, you'd be able to tell us a little bit more about that. It's not my department, of course, but I'm invested now, you see. She smiles at you like, I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry. You're fine.
Of course you are. By us, do you mean Trilliant, or do you mean the High Church and Trilliant?
I think you'll find, if you haven't already, that on Berkman, we're very much one and the same. Our goals are
Indeed.
aligned.
Well, if you wouldn't mind, before I have that conversation, I would like some proper clothing before. I do not fancy wandering this cathedral in a medical gown. I would also like some of my equipment.
She nods and she says, of course. I mean, everything you had on you was more or less destroyed, but we've had replacements made. And as if from nowhere, like there is someone who walks in with a case, basically, and opens it, and yeah, you see slightly more Trill versions of everything that you own, like whatever you were wearing or holding at the time. And it's like it's like your outfit was fine before, and this is like a more Trill version of it. It's the same in every way, but just looking at it, the fabric is better. It was like handcrafted by like someone paid someone paid a great deal of time and attention and money to replicate a better version of your own clothes.
I will nod and just do I appreciate the attention to detail. I'm not sure I am worth the extravagance, but it is appreciated.
She says it's always worth the extravagance, Chaplain. She gestures and she says, "We have to set a good example."
I'm sure Trilliant does. I'm afraid that as a humble priest, perhaps I am not the best, how would you call it, billboard for your services. But anyway, this is a conversation perhaps that can be had another time. My team, do you know if they are they well? Have they been attacked as well?
She shakes her head and she says, "I'm sorry, I don't know anything about that. You'll have to speak with the Inquisitor.
Very well.
My job is to make sure that you get up and running. And from here," and she gives you a fairly lascivious like once over. You seem to be operating. You seem to be operational. And then she looks at the clothes and she says, "I'll give you some privacy. But if you need anything,
you will take care of me," I believe was the phrasing.
precisely."
And with that, I'll just move straight over to the clothes, start getting changed. I don't wait.
Okay. Yeah. So her and her team, they leave. And you go to get dressed, and we cut away. So Booker, having learned what you learned about the chaplain, where do you go with that information? Do we see you with Nomi?
Yeah, you would have pinged Nomi right afterwards to make sure
Yeah,
that
you know
was
where she
done.
is, so you can.
I know
yeah,
he
you
didn't
can
want to just
go.
like burst in case the call was still going, so he's like, urgent, need to speak now.
Okay.
Cool.
And based on her
yeah.
response, if she
Yeah, I assume that I get this like after my conversation with Yancey, so then I'll just tell him like respond to the thing and just be like, "Sure, I'll meet you in the common area," and then I go there.
Okay. All right. So Nomi comes back, and the news has moved on. But so Booker is in there. He's got a coffee. You walk in, Nomi.
Officer Greaves, you needed to speak with me.
Yeah. I haven't confirmed it myself, but according to the news, Prism feeds on the TV, it appears the chaplain has expired.
Expired?
Yeah, some sort of attack. It's definitely a terrorist attack on the ship that he was on. Probably planned out. Of course, they're doing a whole cover-up on it. And I smell bullshit.
Officer Greaves, I'm sorry. She's like kind of like stumbling, and, like trying to process what he said. How do you know?
I haven't confirmed whether or not he actually is dead, but according to the news feeds, this is what happened. Now, that one's a wily motherfucker, and I've seen him do some shit. So there's a chance that he's alive, but if we're to take it at face value officially, he's put out as dead.
How do you know that it's our chaplain and not some other chaplain?
Well, that's why I continued. I don't like watching these feeds because it's all bullshit. Trying to push for it doesn't matter. They listed his name, showed his face, but again, no confirmed bodies. It's just the news. Figured I'd keep you updated.
What kind of terrorist attack?
Oh, they didn't call it one, but they said it was a mechanical malfunction. How often does that happen?
A mechanical malfunction of what, exactly?
They didn't specify, like they never do.
Yeah, whatever part of a shuttle explodes and kills people, I guess.
Yeah, it's just he never said that there was an explosion, so that's why he's confused.
Yeah, I mean, it's relatively easy if you just search. Like, you can just pull up on your own pad and like pull up all the reports that Booker is talking about.
Yeah, if the TV is like not going through that anymore, then that's what I would do is like look up.
Booker probably has it like already brought up, on his thing because he's, so he'll just be like, here you go, take a look yourself. And
Yeah, and so we can see it between the two of you, the hollow ads and stuff display, and then you see the fire being put out, and there's a bunch of information about, and you know how it'll have like the main story, and then there are nodes for other related stories. So it's like find out about other accidents, or like, is your shuttlecraft safe to drive? Find out here, and you know, all the
follow-up
kind
story,
of
right?
yeah, exactly. And so yeah, but it does Nomi confirm everything that Booker said about the chaplain, that the report seems to be that he was killed in a freak accident in the shuttle, one of the docking bays.
Okay. So Nomi, like, I like read through all of the information, and when I see that it actually like confirms that it was the chaplain, then I hand the thing back to him, and I say, we need to confirm this before we make any kind of claims to the contrary, or
Agreed.
buy into this story. Perhaps it is time that we rejoin with Ymira, and the three of us can investigate this crash site, or explosion, or whatever happened, ourselves.
I agree. I don't like going into a mission without a full team. And I don't
Excellent.
buy that this is what happened. At the very least, I need to confirm it for myself. Owe him that much.
Yes, I'm hesitant to believe whatever this news story is. Let's go investigate ourselves.
Sounds good. I think the Amira to her quarters. Perhaps I'll double check on that. Yeah, looks like she's in her quarters.
Then I'll like ping her on my comm thing to ask her to meet us in the main area where we are.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So, Ymira, you leave. You just walk out of the room. You're gonna leave your bags. What do you tell Amelia?
I tell Amelia to sit tight, and I'll be back later. And if the Trilliant gentleman comes around, to tell him to keep the engine running, so to speak, but that I need a bit of time.
Okay.
I'm also going to I'm going to just send the transmission anyway, because I figured out a way to word it.
Okay.
I'm going to send a transmission to my aunt and ask her to get in touch with a woman named Firoza. And it's a woman that I've worked with in the past, and she should know who she is. Or it's a woman that we've worked with in the past, and she should know who she is.
Okay. And is this like is this like a secret code, or is this yeah, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So you do that. And this is a message to let your aunt know that you're in trouble.
No, that I want to like let this person know that I'm looking for them. The Firoza is like a Punjabi word, so that's like a code word, but just to let her know that I'm trying to get in touch with her.
You want her to call Firuza Balk to come and save you.
It's very much like a Spanish word.
I know. What's funny is like Feyruza, like we call it Firoza, and it means turquoise, and her eyes are turquoise. So I feel like there's a connection there. But also it was like the first thing that popped into my head after that whole conversation.
Just thinking about Firuza Balk. All right. So okay. So this is so what is the message you want to like convey to your what should your aunt do when you do this?
I want her to contact this lady and know that I'm trying to do business with her again.
Okay. Let's have, I know that what you're really doing is you're getting your aunt to like contact this person, but let's have you make, I'll have you make the roll.
Okay.
Because NPCs don't roll for you. So make a connect roll with charisma. I will make a note of the results, and then nothing will happen until later because it's got to process. Okay. All right. So 7. Excellent. Okay, cool. And you can tell me more about this person
apparently
later.
that's where her dad got the name. So I'm not that far off. Oh.
Start a Firuza Bulk podcast. Okay. So you've sent that message, and you walk out. and you go to meet Nomi and Booker.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, you find them in the main room.
I kind of stand there expectantly, awaiting why they summoned me, assuming that we probably need to do something.
Yeah, as she walks in, I turn toward her and I say, Amira, we have some concerning news that we need to investigate. It appears that the chaplain is perhaps in some bit of trouble, or the news is reporting that he has passed away in an accident. The officer and I have our reservations about the like kind of pauses. He like scoffs at the word accident. So then I continue. We have reservations about believing the news reports, and we would like to investigate this accident ourselves. Would you care to join us?
I would love to. I've been consoling my assistant all day. She was beside herself when she told me the news.
Oh, so you heard.
Yes. I was in my quarters trying to collect myself as well as her. I agree. I sincerely doubt that it was an accident, especially being called away like that in such a hurry and then immediately this happening. I can't help but feel that it was a trap of some sort.
My thoughts exactly. Want to check it out for ourselves. Oh, the chaplain that much. I don't buy it. He's a wily man, even in a trap. I feel like, I don't know, I just need to know. Besides, he's a part of the team, so we do our best to track him down and due diligence.
Do we know where the wreck is or where it occurred?
Yeah, it's fairly public information.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I look at Officer Greaves because I wasn't positive.
Yeah, he would say like by such and such spaceport, loaded here.
Yeah, they're not making any big secret out of where it happened.
Yeah, I mean it did explode.
It was an exploding vehicle.
You can't really cover up like, oh, no, you saw nothing. That was a firework.
A secret location. This is swamp gas, Venus. Don't worry about it. Weather balloon.
No.
Okay. All right. So I guess then we'll kind of like, I want to figure out what you want to take with you, and then we'll cut from there. But so Nomi, Booker, and Themir are going to investigate the death of Chaplain Valencio. Are you going just the three of you? Do you want to bring anybody from your team?
Yeah. We'd probably bring like Arnahan and like 2 or 3 guards or whatever.
Okay. Sure. Do you want to bring what was his name? Doyle.
Yeah, Doyle.
Yeah, because you have Fry, McGregor, Johnson, Doyle, and then Arnahan is the like squad leader.
I always picture every single time like Doyle, like Doyle.
Yeah, we'll
come
just
along
bring
too.
all the named.
I'm coming, guys. Hold on. Here I come.
All right.
I'm coming, Ted.
Okay. All right. Good. So you bring everybody, your little squad. Okay.
Yeah.
So you tell Arnahan, they gear up, and this is not like a SWAT operation, so they're not in like full armor with rifles and stuff. They have their sidearms and their like body armor. So they'll come along with you, and the group of you requisition a Crux vehicle, and head out that way. And I think that's probably where we cut to break, is as the group of you get in the vehicle and we see it pull away. The camera pulls back to the surface of the planet, and it's getting to be nighttime. Like it's probably like, God, I don't know, like going to be 1 a.m. by the time you leave, which is good. There shouldn't be too many people around in the spaceport, so you'll have a chance to go and look around, and we will see what is up. We'll see what's up in pseudo orbit with the chaplain when we get back. So stick around. We got more Far Verona right after this.